The latest and presumably last DLC for Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods Part 2, is a good if a little underwhelming experience. It does add a variety of things to shake up the combat and traversal experience, but the DLC is so short that these ideas barely even scratch the surface of their potential. Let's dive right in, starting with the new additions to combat. There are 5 new enemy variations and 1 new enemy in this DLC, and most of them I would say are pretty good actually, except for the new enemy, but we'll get to that. For now, let's talk about the variations, starting with the Screecher. These guys are just normal zombies, but with one crucial addition. If they are killed, they explode and release an AoE burst that buffs every enemy in the immediate area. So essentially, it's a walking buff totem. And I really like these guys. They force you to think carefully about what weapons you use, because let's say you like to use the rocket launcher. Well, then the AoE splash could potentially kill the Screecher, and then now you have to deal with buffed enemies. These guys only appear a handful of times, but when they did appear, it was pretty fun. The next variation are the Stone Imps. I don't really have much to say about these guys because they're just tougher imps and the full auto works well against them. Guess now I have a reason to actually use full auto outside of the Super Gorness master level. I do like the fact that they spin dash like Sonic. That's pretty cool. The armor barons are pretty cool. They are encased in armor, obviously, and you have to wait for them to attack before you can destroy it and do damage. Keep in mind, it's for a limited time, so you have to kill them rather quickly once you destroy it. As long as you can do weapon switch combos, then these guys aren't really that much different from a normal baron. Riot Soldiers are just shielded guys, but you can't destroy their shields, so either me hook over them or hit them with a remote detonation. Makes very quick work of them. Now, the most interesting variant is the Cursed Prowler. If they attack you, you become cursed, meaning you take constant damage and you can't dash. The only way to kill them is by blood punching them. These guys are actually really cool, and they are a top priority, even over spirits and marauders, because if these guys attack you and then teleport to the other side of the room, then you're as good as dead. Now that the variants are out the way, let's briefly talk about the new enemy added to this DLC, the Demonic Trooper. These guys are kind of pathetic. They're slow, they shoot you from afar, they can't be chainsawed or glory killed, and they die really easily. Very forgettable enemy. Let's move on. Alongside new enemy types, they have also added a new weapon that replaces the Crucible, called the Sentinel Hammer. This weapon is actually really amazing. It does a big slam that stuns all surrounding enemies, and it refills your ammo. But the best part about it is that you refill it by glory killing demons and destroying weak points. Thank God. I wish this was how the Crucible works. This weapon is golly when it comes to extending weapon combos. Now you can basically infinitely falter demons as long as you know what you're doing. And poor marauders, this weapon absolutely makes them a joke. Alright, that was the end of the combat additions, and overall I really do like the additions that this DLC presents, but as said before, the additions are extremely underutilized. There is also Mii-hook platforming, which is really cool and made me feel like Spider-Man. I just wish it was in the base game, but I'm glad they added it in. The boss in this DLC is surprisingly fun. I went in with low expectations. I really only like one boss in the entirety of Doom Eternal, but this one was actually pretty fun and felt like a true boss battle. Admittedly, the reason for that is the boss behaves like a big marauder, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? All in all, The Ancient Gods Part 2 is for all intents and purposes a good DLC, but I think it's a little too anemic, especially when it comes to leveling. It feels like they use all the resources on the enemy variants, the level art, and the cutscenes, which are admittedly very beautiful, and that cutscene before the last level is extremely hype. But I don't think it makes up for how short the levels are. The ending is also a bit weird. It felt like it needed a little bit more oomph or impact to it, but besides that, thank you all for watching, and take care.